Right now there is a movement afoot that's been going on for a number of years to move towards no kill on any level. I mean, either on the 100% that we're at or at least at a decent level. And they all should be moving towards that seriously. Shelters run the whole gamut of the continuum. There are some that on the high end of the kill rate will in fact euthanize 70, 80, 90% of the animals that come to them. And others who are trying much harder in recent years to do better by these animals that we put in this position.
Our rate of euthanasia has dropped tremendously since I've been working here due to the policies that I have implemented. When I first started, it was about 40% euthanasia rate. Due to the policies of volunteers, online, phone calls, and numerous of other things, we've now have a 97% adoption rate here.
I would have to guess that the euthanasia has dropped from probably since I've started 97. I was like maybe at 97%. Now I'm down to probably 1 to 2% of euthanasia.
Well, there are people here who won't agree with me. I respect the outfits that can get themselves down to a 20 or 30% kill rate. That means they are really trying.
I don't think anybody wants to see any animal put down, and we do the best job we can with the limited space that we have to try to ensure that that actually doesn't actually happen.
What we have is we've set up a good relationship with some of the animal groups. If we get to a point where we are full, we get on the phone and we contact these animal shelters, animal groups, and then they'll come in and we'll release it to them.
Even though a lot of us are underfunded, this isn't the old-fashioned pound wheel, we're gassing the animals in the back room. We are trying our severe hardest to get these animals out to the best homes possible with the limited resources that we actually have. We also have utilized volunteers, which is probably the greatest contributing factor into our adoption process. Due to budget cuts and low resources, we went from a 2-man crew to just a 1-man crew, but yet I'm still responsible for all of the same enforcement. Not only am I in charge of the animal shelter, but I'm also in charge of enforcing the animal-related laws in the city. And what volunteers do is that they allow me to keep more animals in the shelter. They're socializing them more, spending more time. They're open to the public a lot more hours. Before I was open 2 hours a day, now I'm open 5 hours a day. These volunteers make phone calls, they go home. They're not getting paid for any of it, but their love for animals has dramatically decreased my euthanasia rate from 40% when I started to just under 3%. We're not putting down any animal unless it's severely aggressive or it's extremely sick.
We rely a great deal on volunteers. And our volunteers, I'm glad to say now, the volunteers we have are very, very dedicated people. One example I like to give is, if you recall last winter, when the news was all full of this big snowstorm that was coming in that never really fully materialized. When I got up that morning, I thought to myself, geez, I better rush over to the shelter because who knows who's going to show up. When I got here, there were 9 cars here, and 2 people had actually slept over in the shelter for fear that they would not be able to make it in the morning. The problem for volunteers is that this whole arrangement is a compassion drain. You know, you're spending time with these dogs, you get to know these dogs and the cats as well, and you go home at night and you think about them and hoping that they're going to get adopted.
The volunteers I have here, they are up and beyond loving, caring people. I always joke, I say that they treat these animals better than they treat their family and kids, but it's only true. We get injured animals in. I have a staff that are pretty kosher on taking care of, doing the first step into the medical. If it needs more, then we contact a couple of vets that we use, and we take it to the vet. So the animals get from City of Wyandotte, they're going to be pretty well healthy, and it goes for the volunteers. It's how many that you have and how you staffed it. So I come a long ways in 6 years.
A few months ago, I had a dog who was about 8 years old, came in, and his teeth were so rotted out that he couldn't even eat. Every time he would take a bite, he would just yell in agony. And he was a nice dog, he was healthy besides his teeth, and it was just due to neglect that they didn't take him to the dentist, to the vets, and actually get his teeth taken care of. So we went ahead and we organized a fundraiser, we contacted several organizations, and we got enough money after about a week or two to go ahead and get his teeth fixed. We found a veterinarian to do it relatively inexpensive. It still cost about $300-400, but we were able to get that problem fixed. However, when you turn back around and you realize there's 5 other animals with health problems, and it's just a continual basis.
The most important things that people who have animals can do is to spay and neuter them. There shouldn't be any breeding except by licensed breeders. The thing that we like to do is naturally to get as many dogs out of the shelter as possible. If you can't adopt a dog, at least foster the dog for a while and get them into a home that way.
It is just totally unreal the way people treat animals, and they're only the way that they were brought up. If the owner teaches them, a dog or a cat, to do this, then that's the way the cat's going to go. You get to the shelters, and these dogs are just happy to see the right loving attention, and that's what I have here.
This case here, what we have is we have a 2-year-old black lab. His name is Jack. Jack was living in a cage about 12 to 16 hours a day. He was living in his own filth. Food was just basically thrown in there. The people got him as a puppy because he was so cute, and they got him from a friend. He basically was, after he got done being a puppy, he was basically left inside of a cage, and he had very little social skills. So what we did is we went ahead, we had the owner surrender him to us. So what we are going to do now is we're going to spend the next week or two, and we're going to try to get him socialized. He's going to do very well. We have no doubt that we're going to find him a home. Unfortunately, he's got a lot of dander, some fleas, a few other medical issues, but he's a young dog, so we should be able to fix whatever issues he might actually have.
We get a lot of pit bull type dogs in here. There are a lot of people who don't know what a pit bull is, and they think every dog that, looks similar must be a pit bull, but they are great dogs. And when people here are leery about adopting one, my answer has become twofold. One is, in 2 words, it's Michael Vick. His dogs, and I won't have the precise numbers, but let's say there were 39 dogs or so, and these dogs were bred to fight, they were trained to fight. Some organizations like PETA wanted them all put down. A very with it judge decided no, he was going to let the dogs in effect be represented. And all but 2 of those dogs survived. One was because he was so physically injured that he had to be put down. Those dogs are now therapy dogs. They are now in homes. The remainder of them, some are at Best Friends in Utah, but they are wonderful dogs. But there isn't a greater clown and more loyal dog, and that's why they made them into fighting dogs, because they'll do anything their owner wants them to do. It's up to the owner. They are great, great dogs.
What gets me through each and every day is to know that every single day I'm here, I'm helping some animal find a new home.